All right, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Jamila. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a member of the Birth Justice Policy Committee. I'm filling in for Felicia tonight, who is unfortunately sick. She's actually online right now. So shout out to Felicia. I hope you feel better. I got attacked with it also, but it's not going to take me down. I'm going to stay out here, take my meds, take my medicine, vitamin C, all the things. So before we get started, we're going to go through some protocols. So Manu is kicking us off with the instructions to tune into Spanish interpretation tonight.
Yes, I am. Folks can hear me, yeah? Great. So tonight we have simultaneous interpretation in Spanish. Mitzi and Martin will be our interpreters tonight. Even if you are joining us in English, please make sure to click on the language button at the bottom of your Zoom screen and opt into the channel of your choice. Once you do that, you will no longer be able to hear me as clearly, but no worries, after I give the same message in Spanish, we should be good to go. And if you have any questions, please let us know in the chat. Buenas noches, hoy tendremos interpretación en español. Mitzi y Martín serán sus intérpretes esta noche. Para poder escuchar al intérprete hay un botón al fondo de su pantalla en la parte de abajo con un pequeño signo que se ve como un mundo. Si lo presionan y seleccionan español, podrán escuchar al intérprete. Si necesitan ayuda, solamente déjenos saber en el chat y una vez que se unan a ese canal, ya no me van a poder escuchar a mí. Si tienen alguna pregunta, por favor, nos avisan en el chat. So those were the instructions for interpretation. We also have closed captioning available tonight. To turn on closed captions, you need to click on the closed caption icon on the bottom right of your screen, and you can click and drag closed captioning to move its position in the meeting window. To adjust the caption size, you can click on the upwards arrow next to the stop video. And you can click on video settings and then on accessibility, and then you can move the slider to adjust the caption size. If you have any questions tonight about Zoom functions or you need any troubleshooting throughout the course of this presentation, please chat Vivek, who is here as Forward Together's tech support tonight, and you can find him on your screen as tech-Vivek. And I should have introduced myself at the beginning. My name is Manuela. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a donor organizing manager here at Forward Together. There's one more thing. We've assembled resources to keep this space as safe as we can. And it takes a community effort to keep us all safe. So while there are staff here who are holding safety roles, they may not see everything immediately. So if you notice something that makes you feel unsafe or that needs to be addressed, please message Maria or Yen, who have FT safety team before their names here on the Zoom call. And we are also recording this presentation for folks that weren't able to make it tonight, and also so that we can share it with others as an additional birth justice resource. So if you'd like to be kept off screen, you can turn your video off. With that, let's go ahead and get started, and I'll hand it over to Maureen to lead us through a land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Manu. Hi, everyone. My name is Maureen. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the other donor organizing manager at Forward Together. Forward Together works to center Native and Two-Spirit people. That means that we continually work to lift up Indigenous voices and to determine ways in which we can decolonize our spaces and approach. While there are many deep and long-term actions that need to take place to fully restore the rights of Indigenous people, we know that one way we can lean into this is by acknowledging the land we are currently on. We start by acknowledging the land on which Jamila and Elle, and so many of us on this call, occupy tonight. What we know as the Portland metro area rests on traditional village sites of the Multnomah, Wasco, Cowlitz, Cathlamet, Clackamas, Bends of Chinook, Tualatin, Kalapuya, Molella, and many other tribes who made their homes along the Columbia River, creating communities and summer encampments to harvest and use the plentiful natural resources of the area. I want to thank the original caretakers of this land and their descendants. In addition to our thanks, we can take action in supporting Native and Indigenous communities by honoring treaty rights obligations, creating deeper relationships, and lend back to Native communities. Let's commit together to more solidarity work in actions and in relationships. Please, if you could take 3 minutes to let us know in the chat who originally lived on the land where you are. If you're not sure, check out a website called Native Land for a map that tells you whose land you're on. And let me drop this in the chat really quickly. There you are. Please also share any Indigenous resources you read or follow that you think other folks may benefit from. Also share any forms of land tax that you know of for those who are able to pay. A land tax is a way to give money for the land we occupy and to acknowledge the original stewards of the land where we live. And let me drop these instructions in the chat as well. And also, while we're at it, if you can share any people you follow on social media. For example, there's some folks that the members of the Birth Justice Policy Committee shared with us. And I'm going to go ahead and share their Instagram handle in the chat. And we encourage you all to check them out and follow them. There you go. So I'm going to pause here and let us all take time to figure out which land we're on, share resources in the chat, and sit with all of this knowledge. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing, for participating in this land acknowledgement. Please make sure to continue sharing in the chat as we continue with the rest of our program. And thank you so much for the commitments you've made to uplift Indigenous sovereignty. I will now pass it over to Elle for introductions.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming tonight again. Like Jamila, I am sick, so my voice starts breaking up. I apologize. Just kind of drinking lemonade and have my cough drops. So let me start off by introducing myself. My name is Elle. I go by pronouns they, them. I am from ancestors of Nigeria whose strength and endurance and survival penetrates my soul. I adore human diversity and the variances in nature that are provided. And I believe that every human being should be embraced and should feel safe in experiencing the world in which is a right way for them. I consider myself to be a gender non-conforming queer person with a uterus. My desire is to be able to create positive experiences in the reproductive world and also for reproductive care, for birthing individuals who embrace gender fluidity within our Black, Brown, Native, and Indigenous communities. I'll pass it to Jamila.
Thanks, Elle. My name's Jamila. My ethnicity is Afro-Caribbean, And with over 20 years of gleaned, learned, and immersed experience in early childhood education, I bring joy, passion for pedagogy, and cultural responsiveness as the Kairos Early Learning Academy program manager. I serve passionately in the early learning field throughout the Northwest as a research practitioner, educator, and program coordinator, where I've guided teachers in child-centered reflective practice, anti-bias practices, meaning making, emotion coaching, and the Reggio Emilia approach. As the youngest of 5 and now a mother of 5, I know the value of giving children voice, advocacy, and protecting their learning through play. Alongside advocating for children, I champion families by educating them on how to meet up with their child's social and emotional needs. I studied psychology with a minor in Spanish at Howard University and earned my bachelor's in education at Goddard College with a concentration in dual language learning, cultural relevance, and anti-bias approaches. I'm glad to serve in the collective knowledge within the BJPC. And with that, we are going to talk about who is the BJPC. So we are a Black, Native, and Indigenous organizers, lactation specialists, educators, birthing people, and advocates. And together, we have a shared definition of birth justice, have learned about policy and implementation, built community. We envision a world where the birthing person is the most important person in the room. And with that, Elle is going to take it over.
Come on, I gotta get my technology right. For the past 2 years, the BJPC, also known as the Birth Justice Policy Committee, has done a lot of transformative work and also growth. I just want to list off a few of the many things that we've actually been able to do. This is just a taste of it so you guys can see our magic. So the first thing that I'll mention is that more recently, we engaged in a training called Train the Trainer, Self-Managed Abortion. We were able to gain skills, knowledge, and resources to be able to train people in how to access self-managed abortion resources. We get together and we're able to actually hold multiple skill shares where it's mainly focused around continuing education. We're also doing self-care. We've been able to create a space of sanctuary amongst ourselves where we share our stories, build our collective knowledge, and there are so many brains in this group that is beyond comprehension. But we're able to build collective knowledge, support, and lean into each other in this sacred space. And it's really just for Black, Indigenous, and Native folk only. We've also had an amazing opportunity within this year to be able to be sponsored by Forward Together, to take a trip to Washington, DC and attend the Black Maternal Health Conference. We were able to actually share our knowledge with having our own lectures. And then also we were able to provide offerings through those lectures that we gave. We were even able to partake in rest and rejuvenation together, which was well needed and beautiful, and the food was amazing. We launched a Persons of the Global Majority Birth Worker Fund and allocated $25,000 to birth workers of color. We have recently been able to claim our seat with the OHA Rules Advisory Committee with their birth center meetings. We've been able to advise in those. And with us being on that council, we're able to speak our voices and say what our communities need, and hopefully be able to make some changes to those rules that they're rolling out. And then in the next year, we're very excited because we have been able to form subcommittees now. So these subcommittees are focused on outreach, education, sustainability, and management and policy. You know what that means? We're trying to create some laws, get some stuff changed. The Birth Justice Policy Committee is on the road to change. And in the future, we do dream of having our own space where we can fight more for more reproductive justice and actually provide care and health to our birthing, to our birthing individuals. When we came together, about 2 years ago, when we came together, we knew what we wanted to make change inside of the reproductive world for Black, Native, and Indigenous bodies. Our definition is who we are. It's who our ancestors are and the people and community doing the work. We look to Sister Song, Loretta Ross, and our members to craft this, what birth justice means to us. This is our labor of love, it's our sovereignty and our truth. With that being said, here's our definition of birth justice. I'll pass it to Jamila.
I was talking that whole time. I was completely muted. Thanks, Elle. Birth justice recognizes and centers all birthing people and parents. We envision a world where the birthing person is the most powerful person in the room, where their knowledge of their body is respected, where their cultural practices are celebrated, and where their decisions are honored. We deeply trust the knowledge, intuition, and wisdom of pregnant people. And with that said, I'm gonna pass it to Elle.
Oregon's deep-rooted history of trauma and reproductive oppression that Black, Native, and underserved groups have experienced drives and shapes this birth justice movement. Did you know that Black and Native women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white women? That number increases with the discrimination, anti-trans, and lack of care that two-spirit, gender non-conforming Black and brown folks, trans folks face. The root of inequitable birth outcomes our communities experience come from Oregon's founding as a white-only state, the termination of tribes, the active elimination of traditional birth practices, the medicalization of birth, and the cumulative toxic stress of dealing with institutional racism in the healthcare systems. Dismantling these systems is a core piece of this work, while simultaneously building up the systems and practices we know are needed for our communities to thrive.
Birth justice seeks to challenge this history and systems of oppression by centering birthing people in all care settings: preconception, pregnancy, childbirth, abortion, postpartum care, pregnancy loss and grief, the right to breast or chest feed support and having support, adoption, surrogacy, fertility treatments, fertility awareness options, and childcare are all part of birth justice. Birth justice includes the right to have a culturally congruent advocate and healthcare provider as part of our care.
Tonight, we've been able to come together to speak of birth justice and key figures in the community. 2 roles that I think about when I hear of reproductive justice are doulas and midwives. Doulas are on the front line fighting for equitable births. And traditionally, the midwives nurture and provide a safe space for ancestral and ritual birthing practices. We want to encourage you to imagine what would be different for you and your community in a world where the birthing person is the most powerful person in the room. With all birthing people, where all birthing people have support and they're able to experience a safe and culturally appropriate and pleasurable birth. Now, what we'd like to do is break out into small groups for, gosh, it looks like we probably have about 15 minutes to discuss the questions that you're seeing on the screen. And then we'll come back and debrief as a group. Feel free to do a quick round of introductions in these groups. And the questions that we're going to be discussing in those groups are, what does birth justice mean to you? And what comes to mind when you hear the words doula or midwife? We also have a journaling activity, and you can feel free to answer this question too if you guys have some spare time in these breakout rooms. And that question is, if you don't know a doula or midwife, imagine what it would feel like to have that type of support available for you or your family or even your community. But that can also be a journaling exercise too. All right. All right, welcome back, everyone. Oh, there's more people. Welcome back. Awesome. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you guys had enough time. It's never enough time. It's never enough time. There's usually one person that gets cut off in these. But I hope that you guys had at least enough time to go over the first two questions that we asked. We'd love to hear your thoughts. So we actually have time, right, for hearing a few voices. So if you raise your hand, or so that we can hear you verbally, or just put your thoughts in the chat, we can kind of pick one. Whoa, I'm spotlighted. I just saw that, I'm sorry. We can pick from there and then share that to the group. I'll give everyone kind of some time to type too. Ooh, I see someone posted a list of states that allow Medicaid to pay for doula services. Thank you for posting that. That's good to know. I'm gonna say Deanna's, because that's the first one I see right here. It says, for me, birth justice is confronting the infant mortality rate of Black mothers and babies. Yes. Trying to bring in more Indigenous babies to make up our own kin killed by Catholic Church. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm like, this is like something that needs to be discussed within community, and then it needs to be brought up and pushed forward to the main line so that people are discussing these things. Because yes, babies were killed by the Catholic Church. Deanna, do you mind coming off mute to speak a little bit about that one? If you don't want to, you don't have to too. I don't want to push anybody. Definitely don't feel pressured.
There we go. I tried to do it and it didn't let me. It said the host needed to. So.
I'm sorry. I just realized that I needed to let you unmute. I'm so sorry about that.
No worries at all. Yes, absolutely. So hi, everyone. My name is Deanna Parvin Yadalahi. My pronouns are they, them. I'm a fat brown person with my hair back. Yeah, I just think, so I'm an Indigenous person, but Indigenous to actually Mexico. And yeah, I mean, I was born and raised Catholic, but like we have to, you know, be really upfront about the fact that, you know, we've found so many Indigenous babies, you know, like buried under Catholic churches and things like that. And so for me, it was just like thinking about how, oh, I hear my dogs fighting, but it's okay. And then, you know, just like acknowledging that like it's mostly Black mothers and Black babies who have issues with, especially in the United States, with infant mortality and just like health with birthing. So I think, yeah, it's, and then infanticide too, about like being able to actually support disabled children who come into this world. There's a national day of mourning or something like that for disabled people, disabled children who have been killed by their caretakers because of just not being adequately supported and being neglected and things like that. So really just thinking about the intersections and the cross movements of the issues faced by people and communities and those most impacted within birthing justice.
I love you. That is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm looking in the chat too, and I'm seeing an amazing range of just thoughts and just what came out of those groups. And I'm going to read through every single one of those. So thank you guys so much for sharing your feedback with us. And before we go on to the Q&A, I'm going to actually pass the mic over to Maureen and Manu from Forward Together, and they're going to share with us some calls to action.
Hey everyone, thank you for sharing. We actually have, I was going to say we're running out of time, but we're good. We still have a few minutes. I do want to mention that we will likely run over, but we should be wrapping up by 40 or 45 at the latest. Thank you all so much for being here. This is an amazing turnout. We're so excited. Thank you so much for Jamila and Elle for your presentation and for facilitating such a beautiful space. I feel like we've only scratched the surface of like everything we could cover. And so maybe we can have a series and, further sessions, further presentations. Honestly, we've learned so much. Thanks to the both of you. We've heard incredible stories. I think in breakout groups, folks have been able to reflect, envision a different world where the birthing person is the most powerful person in the room. So please share some love for Elle and Jamila in the chat. Use some heart emojis. Let's show them some appreciation. Let's go. Come on. Let's show some love in the chat. I'm sure at this point, everyone is like super pumped about birth justice, wondering about ways to get involved and continue supporting this work. And so we have 3 asks or calls to action for you tonight. Number 1, here it is coming, making a financial contribution. All funds raised until the end of the year will go to support the Birth Justice Policy Committee. We are dropping the donation link in the chat. Just give me a quick second. And if I could rely on my team to just keep dropping it in the chat, that would be wonderful. But we would love for you all to use your favorite emoji once again to let us know that you're donating or you've donated or you're about to be donating. Let me see some emojis. Are folks reacting? I'm waiting. Come on. A little heart. Okay, I see some hands clapping. There you go. Thank you, folks. Please keep up the emojis. As you've heard, the Birth Justice Policy Committee has ambitious goals. They want to have land at some point, maybe have a birth center. They are super freaking bold, and we need you to join our movement and help us resource their collective. So if you haven't donated yet, now is your chance. Like, we're literally taking time so you can go grab your wallet and make a donation. You can help build a momentum for a birth justice movement led by Black and Indigenous birth workers. Like, how cool is that? Your support will allow them to continue providing Skillshare sessions on topics such as ancestral birthing practices, how to access abortion care, and many other topics. Donations will also go towards stipends, like we talked about earlier, to BIPOC queer, trans, and non-binary birth workers who are severely underpaid, if paid at all. Oh, and also, all donations will be matched. So if you aren't convinced to donate yet, I literally don't know what else to tell you, except that you need to get off your couch and go grab your credit card. And I could spend hours just sitting here, staring at you through my screen in silence until you donate and make us all uncomfortable and awkward. But you know what? I'm not going to do that, because I know that I can count on y'all. I know that y'all are going to come through and chip in whatever you can and whatever amount is meaningful to you. So please donate, and thank you all so much. I'll go ahead and pass it over to Manu.
Wow, Maureen. All right. Shout out to Jean. Shout out to Amy, whose donations are coming in. Wendy, your donation came in. Keep them coming. I also want to let y'all know about another action that you can take, because we can contribute to movements in many ways, not just with financial contributions. We all have a role to play. And another thing that you can do is sign up for updates on birth justice. This is the way that you're going to be able to keep in touch with the Birth Justice Committee and find out more about their work in the future. So Maureen just dropped the link in the chat. And yeah, you can just sign up through that form. And there's another way that you can contribute, and that is continue to learn and to educate yourself on birth justice. And so there's a document, a resource document that the folks at the BJPC compiled that is amazing. It is full of articles, videos, podcasts. It even it can refer you to other organizations that are working on these issues, and we also encourage you to support those organizations as well. And Maureen just entered that in the chat. And I'm seeing more donations coming in. That's amazing. Lisa, thank you so much. Nia, thank you. And I'll pass it back to Ellen Jamila to do a little bit of a Q&A for any burning questions that are still out there. Please write them in the chat so that Ellen Jamila can answer those before we wrap up tonight.
Thank you so much, Maureen. You are hilarious. That's awesome. So Jamila and I are here to answer any questions that anybody might have. I kind of sent a message to the BJPC team and just to see if anyone wants to answer any questions too. Please feel free to answer those questions too.
I'm sorry. I had to relocate myself because I
think I see,
sleep my child to sleep.
I think I see Jamila, there's a different Jamila who's asking. And
where have you guys been all my life? That's what I want to know.
You want to join us?
This is amazing. If every time you said Jamila, I kept looking like her because my name is Jamila, but it's just spelled different. And so I was just like, oh, okay.
We the same, boo-boo. We the
Hey.
same.
Yes, if you guys are shy, you can definitely write it in the chat too. Let's see. In my group, we learned about hypnobirth. Are there any other non-traditionalist, traditional-ish, or newer types of birth? Not really newer, but there's a lot of traditional ancestral practices that would probably seem new to the United States, but it's not. So like telling people about doulas is a big one. A lot of people don't know that doulas it's a tradition, like it's an ancestral practice. And a lot of people don't know about doulas and what we do, and don't know that they can have the type of support that's just like, I like to describe it, especially nowadays, as like it is your grandmother or your mother or your elder. If you don't have that in your life, that is what we are. We are there to cover you and protect you. So that is, I recommend a doula to everybody.
I wanted to also add to that people don't talk about midwives as much. Like whenever you're pregnant and you go into the doctor, you have a checkup, like it's not always offered. So if you haven't had a child yet and you work in the birthing field, definitely ask for a midwife. There's an intentionality that is associated with them. Personally, as a birthing person, that I could never have a doctor. I can't. I just can't.
I would piggyback off of that, what Jamila said. Something I do want to share is that we did Manistats for about 10 years here in the US. And when it looked at birth outcomes, infant maternal mortality and morbidity, in out-of-hospital settings, our disparities literally dissipated. In the hospital system, we are, depending on where you're at, 1 to 5 times more likely to die, as well as our babies. For Black and Indigenous babies, actually here in Oregon, Indigenous babies die at a higher rate even than Black babies. Yeah. And that number dissipates when folks choose out of hospital midwifery, because it's individualized care. We're not treating you like, some textbook case. We're getting to know you, or a number or a statistic. We're getting to know you. And I do see that Adeline's hand is up. I'm going to address one question. Can in the chat, Talmai, I don't know, I hope I'm saying your name right. Can only Black Indigenous folks join the BJPC? Yes, the BJPC is focused on Black and Indigenous birthing people, birth workers, and advocates, because there's a hyper invisibilization of Indigenous folks and a hyper visibilization of Black folks' oppression and genocide. And we have work not only to do to uplift our birthing people and our babies for better outcomes for us, but we have work to do amongst ourselves to heal wounds. And so that's why we're focusing on gathering together. There are other ways that folks who are not Black or Indigenous to support the BJPC, however.
Mhm.
And I see Adeline has their hand up.
She's like, great, when I turn
Sorry.
around. That's when we call you.
No, you're good. Yeah, thank you all for hosting this space. I come from a nursing background with an interest in high-risk postpartum care, potentially L&D. And I'm wondering, how can nurses or new nurses like me who are about to graduate within the next year, thank you.
Yeah.
We better uplift this work because we do come from a very like medical focused model, and in curriculum it's not as inclusive as this. So I'm wondering how we uplift this work, and how can we be more mindful and holistic about our nursing practice to better tailor to women of color in their birthing process.
That's a really good question. Actually, I'm gonna call to either Roberta. Roberta, are you able to?
Absolutely.
Sorry.
I
The
was just
extra members
thinking.
that are talking are actually members of the BJPC, and we love our group. So I want to make sure that their voices are heard too.
Yes, I think that it would not hurt nurses to take a doula training to really see what we're there to offer. So when we come across your path, you know exactly how to direct us and work with us. It is a little bit more time, but like even lactation, extending your profession right to the source and the community that you want to build in your work. So you'd be bringing us in and gaining that knowledge yourself and becoming part of the team, essentially. That's one really good way to do that. And just learn with your hands, your heart, and be patient and understand what the system is and that what you're working in, and see it from the client's point of view, the family's point of view, their extended family's point of view when they come into your clinics and your offices, when they're laying in your beds. This is a work of love, and this is a work of like we're moving energy. This is what this is. We're bringing infants into the world for humanity and for love. And so when we can take it back down to what that really is, it's not a profession. This is a lifestyle for most of us, a lot of us, but we're grateful to be getting paid for this. We're grateful that Medicaid is increasing our pay. You know, it's going up here in Oregon. Fight for your own state, your own area. You know, talk to the legislature. You know what's happening. Be a part of the movement. Sometimes this is not a 9-to-5 part of it. You know, you would know that as a nurse. This is a 24-hour love, passion, and just have your ears open. That's all I can say at that point.
Thank you.
No.
I would add to that too, something that I learned in, something that I've seen be taught both in midwifery and lactation, and I've heard from nurses is like, they'll steer away from asking deeper questions, pushing certain information, having deeper dialogue with Black and Brown communities, because there may be trauma or there may be sensitive things. I encourage you to learn about trauma-informed practices and have the conversation so that our birthing people get access to true informed choice. I cannot stress that enough. It's having the conversation. People will make the best choices for their lives given all of the information, right? They deserve all of the information. And also, oftentimes in our medical system, we will see moms and babies or birthing people and babies as two separate. They are a dyad, right? So the mental health, the breastfeeding, the baby's temperature, and all of the circadian rhythms, they're all very linked and connected. So try to always remember that when you're asking a question of mom, you're asking a question of birthing person, you have a paired question with baby. Or if you're asking a question with baby, you have that paired, there's symbiosis or I don't know the word for that. It's connected. Y'all got
it. I wanted to add something onto that too for Adeline. I love that you're finishing up your nursing. Something that I loved about the people who cared for me as a birthing person was supporting breastfeeding or chest feeding. There are so many people that just go to work in the health field. And when someone who's nursing is struggling, you don't want to hear, well, go ahead and just go give them Similac, give them a bottle. Like, you don't want to hear that when you ultimately are trying your hardest to make it happen. So as a nurse, supporting, like, what do you want? You know, really asking that mom, what do you desire? What do you want? I'm not a lactation consultant, but I can find you one. Like, that is gold. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of work that doulas and midwives do. They try to keep it so that each person is getting individualized care for themselves, and decisions are not being made despite what the mom is thinking is important for them. You know what I mean? So as a nurse, being able to catch those cues of like, this person just went through a traumatic experience and gave birth. We need to be quiet. And we need to wait for them to tell us what they want. And then we need to provide that. That is what it's about.
And one more thing that I want to add on. To me, I feel like after doing so much research and just understanding like what being a doula is to me, sorry. Whew, I can't breathe. This is killing me. This cold is taking over. Okay. What being a doula means to me and being in the birth justice world, seeing the numbers of, seeing how the statistics of what it's like for people to have a postpartum doula and how that can actually save a life, especially a birth doula, just to be there. I think it's so important for even the medical staff, so like nurses, doctors, anyone in the medical setting, midwives, recommend a doula to someone, even if they're postpartum. Just be like, hey, you know what? I see that you're here by yourself. Or I see that you guys have this new baby. Sometimes it can be a lot. I want to recommend a doula for you guys. Like, in a lot of hospitals have programs with doulas there who are able to come in. A lot of them work off of Medicaid, which is great. And then there's a lot of associations, not to like throw, well, yeah, to plug it in, Community Doula Alliance, like that is one that a lot of people need to look into too, because of the fact that they are very culturally aware. And there are doulas that take care of everything. So it's definitely worth telling people to get a doula if they are postpartum or if they're at the beginning of their birth, just letting them know, especially if they're having those births that are highly traumatic. Like, I've had a traumatic birth, so having a doula is life-saving. So definitely talking to them about that. Yep, Community Doula Alliance. Danielle, I think I saw your name on here, but I think we're also running out of time. Danielle's one of my friends, so I can answer her question later.
I think the next meeting should be longer.
It should.
We can make that happen.
Yay.
Yes, the Community Doula Alliance is a group of doulas. Kimberly, do you want to talk a little bit before we jump off about CDA?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing the link.
Oh, sorry, asked to unmute. There we go.
Hello, I've been up since 7:45 building Community Dual Alliance over here, so I'm tired. So yes, we are Community Dual Alliance. Huh?
Thank you for coming.
Yes. I was hoping I was just gonna ride it out with the camera off. Thank you, Tiara. Yes, I'm the executive director and co-founder of Community Dual Alliance. We have doulas, diverse doulas, Black doulas, African-American doulas, Latina doulas, Indigenous doulas. Yeah, we're a Medicaid billing hub. We have a training side, so we can have more, kind of what you are talking about, more curriculums that are rooted in reproductive justice, culturally rooted. We're matching families, all of the things. So I'm sitting in the new place right now. Been here for the painters to be here. So we have our own independent space. We don't share with anybody. It's our own space for us of color. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah, you all should come and check it out. We're going to have our open house, our ribbon cutting ceremony in January, not sure when. So just so we can all come out and just talk about more about reproductive justice and our efforts here, particularly in Portland, Oregon, and what we can do to make sure that everyone has the optimal birth experience, particularly those of us that are brown and Black skin.
Yes, Kimberly, thank you for sharing that. That is fantastic. I am so glad to hear that. That makes me so happy. First, I was like, she's not in Portland. This isn't in Portland. Where is this? You said Portland. And I was like,
yep, Portland.
So happy to hear it.
Yep.
So happy to hear it.
Portland on 1820 Southwest Vermont. We're right off the bus line. We're in Multnomah Village. So
you
yeah.
better tell that address.
Yeah.
I'm so proud to be living in Portland right about now.
And we have one more slide that we would like to show you. It's actually a quote from Tiara Salmon.
Yes. So we're going to close with this quote from our beautiful traditional midwife worker and postpartum ritualist, among all the many beautiful birthing skills that she possesses. She says, "We are weaving our way into both cultural shift change work and systemic change. By bringing our voice to current systems in place and imagining new ones, we must manifest ourselves. We do it. Us. Yes, Tiara." Yes, drop her a heart because she deserves it for sure. Mm-hmm. Thank you all so much for coming tonight. We will be sending a follow-up email to all the participants with the recording and all the calls to action, including the resources. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. We'll play some music for the next 5 minutes and let you hop off or take some time to donate. Donate, please. Let it rain. Let it rain all the way. Sign up for updates. Yes, there you go. Maureen, she's back on it. And check out our list of resources. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you guys.
Yes, thank you all, not only for joining us, but like, you know, we know that you showed up because this work has heart and meaning for you. So please keep dreaming your dreams. Join us, dream with us. Believe that all of what you hope to manifest is possible. And we're doing this work. We are doing this work.
Thank you. I appreciate you all.
Thank you.